Hi, boss. Thank you so much for coming on to Everyday Endorphins. It is so great having you here.
Yeah, I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having me on your show.
I am going to pretend that we're back in the south of France, although we're not, but that's okay. It was truly such an honor getting to hear you speak at Cannes Lions earlier this year, about a month ago now. Time is flying. And I just remember feeling so moved by that panel and really inspired by your story and everything that you had to share around acting with discipline and grit. And so we're going to get into all of that on the show, but I'd love to really start off by having you share a little bit more about your background and how your background in fitness and athleticism kind of led you to where you are now and also more in the entrepreneurial space as well.
Yeah. So my background, former athlete trying to make it to the NFL, like a lot of young kids from multiple communities, and my career didn't go as planned. You have to make that switch over, that pivot, and it's been the best thing that ever happened to me. I have a knack for business. I love figuring out ways to create value for companies and created a company called Just Train, which is in the health and wellness space. It was just me, and then we built out, and so it's been a great journey, and so health and wellness has been my breaking point. It's been the door opener. It's been my golf club. It's been my country club because I've been able to connect with people all across the world by honing in on my craft. By honing in on my craft and discipline, it has allowed me to open up a lot of doors of entrepreneurship that has created a lot of value across the board that I've been having a lot of fun doing.
Yeah, I mean, the health and wellness space is fascinating and the community is only growing. I think COVID really kind of set the scene for a mass interest in well-being and what it means to actually take care of ourselves. But I want to go back to really the inception of your story. You were training and, really hoping to be in the NFL and things didn't go as planned. So, can you talk a little bit about what that experience was like for you when you were working so hard towards accomplishing a goal that you really had set for yourself and to not accomplish that on paper? Like, what was that experience like for you? What was going through your mind at the time?
To be honest, when you're dreaming to do something where the world's watching, it's all about the hard work, it's all about the dedication. And, there was a state of like misunderstanding for myself of like, was I not good? Or, then I realized that that wasn't my calling, right? But being a football player wasn't my calling, and I'm walking in the true blessing that I am today. And so I think about the hard work that has positioned me to be where I'm at today. So sports allow me to be and show up the way that I need to today than I could have ever been. So that what I don't call a failure is my greatest success because that has allowed me to be the businessman, the father, the husband, all the things that you desire to be. It takes hard work, dedication, and when something doesn't always work out on paper, you still have to find a way to make it work. And so, life is a game, right? Life is a game, no matter what. You have to prepare for it. And so then positioning that, and now I want to use my voice to help athletes understand their value on the field and off the field, whether it's the courts or, the fields, whether it's a swimming pool, whatever it is that you do, how do you use your discipline to reward you for life successes? Or if you're not disciplined, it will punish you.
Yeah, that's a really good point, and, a phrase I always come back to is, "You make plans and then God laughs," right? Like, we're so set on certain things to happen, we think we can control everything, and right as you think you have control, you don't, and you're humbled, and something happens that you can't predict, and it completely changes the course of your path, and I think in those inflection moments in life, we have 2 choices. Choice A is to wallow and to have that victim mentality and to feel paralyzed in trying to move forward because you're so upset over not getting that outcome. Choice B is exactly what you're talking about, is finding a sense of meaning, is moving forward, is allowing that rejection to be a source of redirection in your life. I don't think that that's an easy mindset to cultivate, and I'd love to hear a little bit more about certain moments in your life that actually informed that perspective for you. Was it through the process of training and building that disciplines on the field and being an athlete? Was it family values and how you grew up? Like, where did that resiliency in your mindset really start to establish for you in your life that allowed you to not let that rejection make you feel like a failure? And it was actually a catalyst for so much amazing opportunity to, eventually unfold in your life.
I think it's a little bit of all of it. I think when I go back and I think about my life, I think about, overcoming really, really early and realizing there's no one coming to save you, right? And I think when you realize no one's coming to save you, you build a level of resilience and mindset. And so many people realize no one's coming to save them. I think if once we all realize that, is that life happens, things happen, we're either victors or victims, and then you have to choose to be a victor in all situations. And so, not saying that you don't have good days, bad days, whatever it is, you just have to choose to make the decision towards positive outcome, right? So football didn't work, or there's some business didn't work, or a friendship didn't work, or someone we've hired. You just got to realize that that's the process, and the process just always is going to be what it's going to be. And that goes back to understanding that I have no control. I lost my mom at a young age. You realize you have no control. You really realize that I always wanted to make my mom proud, and the things that I do every day is about what I think her core principles and value were to our family. And you just show up every day and you beat the pavement and you go. And it's grounded principles that I think all play a role in all the things that have happened in my life, to be able to say there's no one thing, because I have family members, I have brothers. I'm a student, so I watch people, and I don't always have to make the mistakes that someone else has made. And that's a blessing.
Yeah, there's so much insight in what you're saying. And, the experience of losing someone close to you, especially at a young age when you can't really make sense of how certain things happen, I would imagine really kind of put other life's challenges into perspective. Because oftentimes I think we tie our identity and sense of self so deeply to our outcomes and our achievements and how things look on the outside, wanting to accomplish something, wanting to be the best at something else, right? And once life hits and things happen that you can't control, exactly what you said, boss, I think, I could imagine it's in those moments where we start to reevaluate what really matters to us. And I'd love to hear a little bit more as well about how all of these experiences have now informed the way that you approach this concept of failure in your life, because you've been able to build such a successful brand and company and are really, a passionate and thriving entrepreneur. And I could imagine, reaching that kind of experience in your life or stage in your career, it's kind of this like positive upward spiral of just momentum of continuing to accomplish in life. But what happens when there are setbacks that you experience now, presently? How do you approach that given what you've gone through and the way that you've been able to train your mind to have that resilience forward thinking?
Yeah, so I think when I think about so much failure today, I'm just such a solution-oriented guy. Addressing things, you make the failures early on by not addressing things right away, and I'm learning that. But things come, right? I just want to be focused on the solution. And again, this isn't a internet thing for me. This is who anybody that knows me, I'm positive, right? I can have a conversation about something negative, but it's the solution to, like, why would, but I move past it really fast because you can't harp on things that aren't creating value. And I think that's what I've learned. Things that aren't creating value, we can have conversations about it, but I don't want to sit and talk about things that aren't creating value. So it's really being solution mindset focus. And that's really what has transpired in my mind. But that's been my lifestyle, right? Because I think you were in Canada, I said this, it's like, I don't know what I don't know. You know what I mean? And when you don't know what you don't know, that's the most beautiful thing. And so I'm living in a space of I don't know what I don't know. What do you know? And if we did something wrong, how can we fix it? And it's really, really simple. And we understand life has its problems. There is not this like calming, everything's going to always be okay. I think just knowing that everything won't be okay and preparing yourself for it, the blow is a lot, not walking around, the blow is a lot softer, but I want to say not walking around with the fear that something's going to happen, right? But also not walking around that everything's just going to be peachy and cream and there's nothing going to happen. So I think there's a balance between it all of really understanding who you are and how you solve problems. And when you become a leader, you have to be solution oriented or you lose trust in your individuals.
I could not agree more, and I'm so happy that you bring up this distinction between positive thinking and toxic positivity because my brand and the show is rooted in happiness and exploring what brings people joy, how they define happiness, and we're going to get to some of those meatier questions towards the end of the interview, so I'll sprinkle it in now so you can start thinking. But I think there's a very big misconception around how people view happiness. There are a lot of people that think that, if I just think positive thoughts all the time, like, therefore I will be happy. And it's true to an extent around like the power of positive thinking, but one would live, I think, a very ignorant life and naive life if they just believed that everything is peaches and rainbows and whatnot, because that's just not what life is. Tragedy and whatnot doesn't discriminate against anyone. Like, hardship can happen at any given moment, right? And so, what I've come to learn and what I really do believe kind of sets the foundation for taking happiness and well-being into your own hands is learning how to sit with the discomfort, learning how to tolerate those negative emotions. And it's exactly what you just described around kind of being real about what happens and knowing what you don't know and having that awareness. But a lot of people, I think, are fearful of even inviting that sort of curiosity because I think we're afraid of what we don't know, right? So what are things that you do, or how have you been able to get comfortable with bringing awareness to the fact that, like, there are things that you don't know, right? A lot of people get, I think, nervous or fearful around like not knowing everything, or they allow kind of fear to paralyze them. And I would love to hear your mindset and perspective on inviting more curiosity to the things that you don't know, like letting that actually be something that superpowers you, not hold you back.
Curiosity is what got me in the position I'm in, being able, so for a little context for people that don't know and probably don't know who I am, I'm Just Train, Ron Boss Everline, and I train a bunch of celebrities. I've trained some of the biggest stars in the world, some of the largest CEOs in the world. And there was a moment where I wanted to be known as a business executive, and I was running away from the title of trainer, which not realizing it's the most powerful title. Though the title of trainer, I could explore my curiosity of business because I love business, but I needed to do really well at training. And so that allows training allowed me to scale and get into some of the biggest rooms because fitness became my golf. And when I allowed fitness to be my golf and people come and work out with me and they had an experience, how did I take the curiosity to build something greater with someone else? So you think about a company like C4, that curiosity, and now I'm 10 years into a company and an equity partner and executive there. Pathwater, I sit on the board. There's so many companies of like the curiosity. I always wanted a water deal. So we invested in a company. I sit on a venture capital. I manage venture capital. I'm not a traditional venture capitalist. It's what I learned and the people you surround yourself around. It's the curiosity of trying to understand other people's journey. But I mastered the craft of making people better in the gym, which was a mindset thing, not a physical thing. Though that was a physical result, the mind shifted. And I want to be super intentional. So you asked the question in the beginning of your statement, you said happy, and this is the happy podcast, and people don't realize happy is it's not an always on thing. Happy is a state of gratitude, right? Happy is a state of understanding life's ebbs and flows. We're not going to always be happy, but we always should come grounded back to a state of gratitude. Happy is like in a moment, right? Gratitude is where we live. And so when you live in gratitude, you have a sense of happiness and thankfulness for all that you have. And that creates even more opportunity because you show up authentically yourself. When you show up authentically yourself, you can say you went home happy. And that is because you're grateful. But happy is not an always on place. And so I hope I answered both of your questions in one. But the context of kind of where we are is like to lead from a place of gratitude, not a place of Happy is like, oh, I'm so happy. Gratitude is like, I'm thankful for the things that are around me. I'm thankful for the people that are around me. There'll be happy moments, but the number one space you should live in is gratitude. And so I really want to lean in on that because I think that's the most important cue to living a more fulfilled life than just chasing things and happiness because you won't be, it's fleeting.
Exactly. I think that was so beautifully articulated. You answered both of my questions spot on perfectly. And I think it was actually before your panel at the Wellness Oasis Lounge that the founder of the 5 Minute Journal came on to the stage and gave a little talk about the science of gratitude. I might be confusing my days. It might have been the day prior to your panel, but if I'm remembering correctly, it was the morning of when you were speaking. And I love her brand and her company. I actually have the 5 Minute Journal. I've been using it for a while now. And there is truly science that does support what happens in our brains and like that physiological, like emotional feeling that we get when we bring to mind the things that we're grateful for. And so for me, I found little gratitude jars or journaling just helps kind of ground me and redirect my attention to the things that really light me up and make me feel really good. How do you seek to infuse more gratitude into your day to day? Do you have a certain practice? Do you kind of talk about it with friends and family, or has it just become kind of this like autopilot way that your brain operates now?
I'm autopilot gratitude. I look around and I'm so thankful for everything while I work for more, right? Like full transparency, I wake up, I grind, I'm a pusher, but you look at moments, right, where someone may say there's more gratitude in a moment, but I just life is like I'm thankful. I'm grateful to be in a position to speak the way we're speaking now. Like I'm grateful, so much gratitude in everything when you look at it in a perspective of like I have it, but I couldn't have. I'm thankful for this, the conversation. And it's not like I'm like, oh, I'm not thinking gratitude. I just operate in gratitude. I operate in authenticity. Anyone that meets me says, oh, if you don't like me, that's your own fault because I showed up as myself. We're not all supposed to be liked. We're not all supposed to like each other. So that's okay. So yeah, for me, it's an autopilot thing. It's not even a thought. It's like I live my life with pure gratitude.
And I think also the more that our minds are like wired to have that bias towards gratitude, the more we attract the right opportunities for us because we're living in alignment with who we are and who we want to be. And that's exactly how I felt coming out of Cannes Lions. I just genuinely felt so grateful to be in shared spaces with people like yourself who are so successful and lead with their heart truly and want to give back to the community and want to really help elevate other people in their mind, body, and spirit. I really believe. And something that really fascinates me about your fitness philosophy, your wellness philosophy, I'd even argue, is your statement around, just training the mind and the body will follow. And I think that's really fascinating to take that perspective as someone who is a trainer, because I feel like we focus so much on how we look and like our own physical metrics and all the things that are composed and contribute to like being physically fit. But how do you kind of balance this idea of training the mind first and then the body will follow? What does that look like in practice and also with your clients?
Like I said, I don't train a lot of people anymore, but my specialty is it's meeting a person where they are versus where I'm at. And I think that's the number one key to being a successful anything in how you approach if you're leading people or you want to lead, even if you've just been a good friend, you have to meet people where they are not where I'm at. And so, an emotional journey, I'm not the best at empathy, and I know that. I lack that in a way because I'm such a mental focus, kind of it's gonna be okay kind of guy. I'm not gonna change that. I'm just not the right person for you to talk to. So I lead with a place of how can we get better all the time? All right, here's the situation. Okay, what's the move past? You can talk about the situation, but it's mine, right? You want to get in better shape. What does that look like for you? It's mine, right? You start thinking about it, you start working towards it, it becomes you. Because if you think about eating healthy and you think about a healthy lifestyle, it starts in your mind. You know, people don't merely wake up successful. It's a mindset first. You don't merely wake up it fit. You have to have a mindset. Yeah, I know the people that come to me and say, I'm ready. You can look in their face. So the question I ask is, okay, you ready to start right now? And the people that say, yes, those are the people that you know mentally are ready versus the people that say, give me a week, give me two. There's no wrong answer, but when you're mentally ready, you go. There, you don't need a trainer. You start walking, you start eating healthy, you start, there's so many different things. And people are, I hear in the world today, a lot of people say, well, we're afraid of you. You're tough. And I'm like, that's fine. I can be tough. Like, I'm not for the weak, you're right. And I'm from the strong minded, someone that wants to be pushed, someone wants to be challenged because it's beyond the gym. Because I believe what I've done is when you're successful in the gym, you'll be successful in business. I know it to be a fact. When I tell people I'm a human performance coach, I am. And I'm talking about the pure sense of human performance, not physical performance. I make people better in real life, whether it's being more kind to people, whether it's building a business, whatever it is, we build and we do things that make people better. And I want my team and the people around me to have that effect, knowing that most won't. But when people come in contact with you, are you making them a better people? Doesn't mean you're always nice, because I'm not always nice. I don't want this misconception that I'm like, oh, I'm the nice guy. No, I'm a good guy, but I'm not always the nice guy.
Yeah, no, it's funny as you were saying how people like, maybe you can be tough on them or whatever the phrase was that you used. In my head, I was thinking to myself, if I ever have the opportunity to work out with you or like train with you, I would be deeply humbled because it's like it can be very intimidating, right? And you're so right. Like people need the conviction. They need to have made the choice that they want to make the change. Otherwise, the change is not going to happen. And this goes with fitness, but like anything in life, you cannot force someone to make a change. They have to intrinsically have that desire to make a change. And I think sometimes there's blockages or like there's things that hold us back to wanting to make the healthier choice. And, Mel Robbins says something that I absolutely love and stand by. She says, act like the person that you want to become. And it's exactly what you said around success and mindset. Success doesn't just come out of thin air. You snap your fingers, you're successful. You have to start believing it and cultivating that mindset first. And same goes with, being healthy, eating well, working out. There's one thing, saying you're going to do these things, and it's a completely other situation when you actually act against it. So I think that's such a good call out. And from that, I'd love to hear just some of your advice for maybe those who are struggling to just act. Like, what's one piece of advice you'd offer someone who's having that difficulty to step into that person, into that healthier version of themselves that they want to become?
It's positive affirmations to yourself, but a lot of times people see me or any trainer that is extreme and it's intimidating versus, a good trainer or a good person knows how to again meet you where you are. And the number one thing you should do is meet yourself where you are and go for a walk, right? Everything starts with taking one step, one little step. All you need to do is say, I'm gonna do this much today. And that's it. That's it, just a little bit. If you do that, you'll look up and you'll find yourself better, right? Don't overcomplicate it. Keep it super simple. Block out all the noise. There's everything telling you to do this. You could take that. You could do this. You could do that. Block out all the noise and go back to caveman. What did they do without all of this to get better? Mindset. Go for a walk, do something basic, do a squat, do whatever it is. And it's not just the physical side. I want to be really clear. It's really making the step, right? If you say you're going to do something, get up. Be disappointed in yourself when you don't hold yourself accountable. Self accountability is an amazing thing, but we don't tend to point the three fingers back at ourselves. We tend to point the finger, but there's just three pointing back at you. And so when you're conscious of the three pointing back at you, you'll be a lot more accountable to yourself.
Oh, there's so much wisdom here. I wish we could continue this conversation, but truly, I feel so inspired. And I think that exactly what you said is really kind of the takeaway message here. It's about cultivating that trust with yourself. How do you do that? You have to show up for yourself and you have to keep the promises that you make. And that's discipline. And it all comes back to your mindset. And I really believe that the messages that you advocate for are amazing and truly the secret sauce to how to create the life that you want to live and be the healthiest and happiest version of yourself. And of course, coming back to that point on gratitude, I think is so spot on and incredible. I'll land here, boss, because this is the question that I ask every guest that comes onto the show. We already talked about how you define happiness. So we covered that one. But I'd love to hear from you. What is something that brings you a bit of endorphins every day?
My endorphins is discipline, getting up, going to the gym, whooping my own ass, and being able to go lead people, but from a place that I've already done it. I've led from a place of discipline. That's my endorphin high. I love the gym. I'll tell you, no matter who you are in the world, you should go to the gym. That's how I've connected the world. You rich, poor, middle, doesn't matter, right? We all should go to the gym. And the gym is a safe place. There's no judgment. Everybody that's trying to go to a gym or on a walk or a trail or a bike ride or anything is saying, I just want to do a little bit better. I want to clear my mind, whatever it is. So that's my endorphin high, is what I do in the morning, 4 a.m., 5 a.m., getting up, going. These podcasts, people talk about, oh, the 4 a.m. grind. There's a true power of a 5 a.m. morning, right? There's a book called The Power of 5 a.m. I love the internet, the jokes that are being made about 5 o'clock, I wake up at 5 and it's 5:15, I've done this, and by 10 o'clock, I've led 3 meetings and like I take advantage of my time, but I love the jokes around it. And am I that functional every day? No. But for me, it's about a regimen and being regimented and that is attractive in itself. No matter where I'm at, I can take a 16-hour flight. If I don't gotta go straight to work or a meeting or I go straight to the gym. It doesn't matter to me. I go straight to the gym. I don't care. I'm tired, exhausted, go to the gym.
It's no excuses. And you're keeping those promises to yourself. And exercise brings you endorphins, and endorphins make you happy. So you're doing it in service of your well being. I love that, boss. Thank you so much for coming on to the show. It's been an absolute pleasure having you as a guest. And I know that everyone listening, I'm sure, has gained so much wisdom because I know I have. So truly, it was just such a pleasure. And, hope to see you round two in France next year.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much. And thank you for having me on. It's a pleasure. Much success to you on your journey and asking amazing questions and everyday endorphins. I love it. Keep pushing it, and I'll see you at the top.